Hello and welcome, influencers. It's your girl here, Anika Stewart, and you are tuning in to the Choose to Live radio show right here on iWorship 96 FM radio, where we spend the best in indie, gospel, and Christian music. And I'm super excited about tonight's show. We have a special guest on tonight's show, and I'm super excited that we will be sharing great content, great music, great discussion, as usual, right here on the I Choose to Live radio show on iWorship 96 FM radio. So listen, influencers, if you are new to me, I'm your girl. I'm your host, Anika Stewart. I'm from Dover, Delaware, and I am your business strategist coach, your Christian certified life coach, and international speaker. And I support professional men and women who struggle with turning their dream into reality. It is my job to assist you with strategies, solutions, and success so you can propel forward with clarity and confidence. So we choose to live, right? We choose to live. We choose to be liberated, improve daily, be vivacious, and enlightened. So tonight, influencers, I want you to get ready because we have a special guest by the name of Jacqueline Stewart. And so before we allow our guest to come on into the broadcast, it's time for our inspirational moment. Dun, 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 dun. So our inspirational moment includes our quote of the week and our scripture for the week. So our quote of the week, it reads, "Don't do it for love, do it from love." And this is unknown, and I'll read it again. Don't do it for love, do it from love. And so what is this saying? Oftentimes, some of us who are in that space of loneliness, or we may be feeling as though we're not good enough. Sometimes when we're in that negative space, mentally or emotionally, we choose to settle. And I say we, because we're all guilty of this at some point. We just choose to settle, whether it be in that relationship. We just choose to settle. We don't choose to pursue after what it is that our hearts truly desire because we feel like we're not worth it. And I can really attest to this quote because, as y'all know my story, I got married September 2009, and a year later he was requesting a divorce. That was devastating, but I knew why he was requesting that divorce. It was because I wasn't in a position to receive the love that he was offering to me. I wasn't in a position mentally or physically to accept the love from my husband. And so what did I do? I naturally pushed him away. I wasn't very welcoming of the love that he wanted to give to me. And that's because I didn't love myself. And so what am I saying? Oftentimes when we're not in a position to receive love, we got to do a self-check. We got to do an internal evaluation and ask ourselves, what's the core of this problem? Where is the root coming from? And most times, if we're honest with ourselves, it's because we're lacking something within ourselves. And so I am free today, but in 2009, I wasn't free because I was still holding on to guilt. I was still holding on to regret, and it showed up in every relationship that I got in. It showed up. It showed up in my actions. It showed up in my language. It showed up how I conducted myself and how I handled myself, my thinking. So when we are not intentional about how we love on ourselves and we're just settling and we're living beneath our means, it's going to show up in every aspect of your life. So choose to live today, understanding that you have the ability, you have the authority to shift the narrative of your life in every aspect, beginning with loving yourself for who you are, right? The good, the bad, and in between. Just loving yourself truly for who you are from the inside out will make all the difference in your life, in every aspect of your life. So today we choose to live. And our scripture for the week is coming from Ephesians 4:2. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. And that is the word of God. And at the end of the day, love covers a multitude of sin. And love is the answer. So we choose to live today. That's our inspirational moment. We choose to live. We choose to be liberated. We choose to improve daily. We choose to be vivacious and enlightened. So influencers, I'll be sharing some great content with you on tonight. We have some great music coming your way. So I want you to stay plugged in with us right here on iWorship 96 FM radio, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back, influencers. It's your girl here, Anika Stewart, and you're tuning in to the I Choose to Live radio show right here on iWorship 96 FM radio. And I'm super excited. We have a special guest here with us, Jacqueline Stewart. I'm super excited that she's here on the Choose to Live radio show. Welcome, Miss Stewart.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And can I say that I very so enjoyed what you just spoke about. And I'm just going to jump right on in. I'm not only a mental health coach, I'm also a mom, a wife, a visionary. I work a full-time job. But, being a mental health coach, you said something very important about your marriage when you were married. You were not mentally, emotionally, or probably even spiritually stable in order to receive the love from your spouse.
Absolutely.
And so something that I focus on as a mental health and support coach, many times when you say mental health, it kind of scares people. That's
Right.
not the only thing I focus on when I'm coaching moms, wives, and women. But it's very important that we focus on all of the mental issues and illnesses that we're going through in order to have a successful marriage, in order to be a successful parent, in order to work on our jobs successfully, and just to walk in our purpose successfully. So it's very important that we get to the root of what's going on with us internally. It's important that we address all of our mental issues and mental illnesses so that we can be productive people. And I thought that was very powerful that you shared that you were not internally well, therefore you could not receive the love, that God placed in your life through your husband. And so I just want to encourage, any wife or mom, or just woman, in order to be the best that you can be in your purpose, in your, in raising your children, in your marriage, in your relationships, on your job, in your business, you have to tackle those things that are going on in you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually in order to move forward successfully, in the destiny and the calling that God has for your life.
Yes, honey. Listen, Miss Stewart is about her business. I am super excited because I know she's going to deliver some great content on tonight, and she is going to empower and uplift you because this show is about you making an intentional decision to choose to live beyond the labels, beyond your circumstances. So I'm super excited that we have Miss Stewart here, and believe it or not, it was very challenging for me to acknowledge what I was lacking, and because at that time I was a minister. I was a minister in the church, and I was struggling. I could pray for everybody else. I could prophesy to everybody else, but on the inside, I was broken. I was empty. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I just had to yield to God for myself and get a breakthrough and keep pulling on him until I got my breakthrough. But there was work that I needed to do with that. So I'm super excited that, you were able to touch on that and expound from that, because I know that there's many women who can relate to that, and you're not alone, and you don't have to be ashamed. And so Miss Jacqueline Stewart is here, and like she said, she's a mom, she's a wife, author, and a visionary, and she's a two-time graduate of Teen Mania Ministries of Garden Valley, Texas, a graduate of Northwestern State University, a licensed minister of Zion Hill Church Family, a mental health coach, certified, by New Skills Academy and is currently getting her master's degree in clinical mental health counseling through Capella University. Miss Jacqueline is all about helping people to heal emotionally, mentally, and spiritually in order for them to be able to move forward physically in their destiny. In 2012, she published 2 books, Gossip, The Intent to Kill, and Jealous to Death. In 2015, Jacqueline trademarked and launched Set Apart and Marriage Ain't Perfect, but It's Worth It t-shirt apparel. So as a mom and a wife, Jacqueline understands what it's like to try to juggle family, a full-time job, ministry, school, and business. Jacqueline also writes, she directs and produces play production, web series, and short films. Her ministry is all about transparency, and her heart is for moms to experience the peace of God and to walk in the fullness of their God-given purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Stewart. So, Miss Stewart, what is your story?
Okay, well, my story, and if I can kind of go back a little bit for those that are listening, before I really get into my story, you keep throwing out nuggets, and so I want to kind of hit on those because you said that you're a minister, and sometimes, like you said, you were in the church, you're praying and you're believing for everybody else, but it just seems like things are not working out for you and your life is falling apart. And so as a minister, before I became a minister, before I said yes to the calling, this is one thing that I told God. I said, I will not do it if I cannot be authentic and honest. And I believe that's what a lot of people in ministry are missing, being honest and authentic. And we're so busy, the Bible says, faith without works is dead. And so many of us are praying and praying and praying, which is where our faith is, but we're not doing the work. And what I love about you is that you had to have it come to Jesus moment and say, okay, it's more than just praying that I need to do. It's more than just saying I need to have faith, but I need to do the work. And I believe that's what a lot of people are missing in the church, is doing the work. And so I want to encourage somebody out there to do the work. Don't just pray about it. Don't just say you have faith about it, but you got to get in there and you have to do the work. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at the ugly truths that are going on the inside of you. And you have to say, okay, God, what is it that I need to do in order to fix this thing? Who do I need to connect to? Whether if it's you need to go to counseling, whatever it is that you need to do in order to get the strategies that you need to get out of that hole that you have allowed the enemy to put you in. And so I just want to encourage whoever is listening, be honest about what's going on in your life. Don't continue to allow your marriage to suffer and all you're doing is praying about it, but you're not being honest and you're not doing the work. And so I commend you, my sister, for looking at yourself and saying, wait, I have to do the work. It's more than just about praying, but I have to look at myself, be honest, and do the work. Now, moving on to me and my background.
Are y'all catching this, honey? She is throwing these nuggets. I'm enjoying you tonight, honey. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So just getting into it, of course, I work a 9-to-5 job where I work with families who have youth with behavior issues, mental illnesses, and developmental delays. That's one reason why I am into like the mental health. Of course, you already said that I'm in grad school for clinical mental health counseling. Also, as a mother, I have a son who is on the autism spectrum. I also have a daughter that is diagnosed with ADHD, which is considered under the mental illness bracket. Also, I've had a period in my life where I suffered greatly from depression. So I know it's not just my profession, but I know about it in my own personal life because I'm a mother every day to my children who, have developmental delay and mental illness. I work with people daily that have it, and I've dealt with it in my own personal life, and I have overcome that. And so that is my heart, and I understand in order for us to pursue the purpose that God has for us, we have to tackle those inner demons. So that's kind of how I've gotten into this realm of mental health and support, and just ministering to women. I always do, women's conferences, workshops, and things like that in my community. But my heart is always for women to come out of that dark place in order for them to be to walk in the fullness of what God has for them. So that's a little bit of my background and the reason why I am a mental health and support coach.
Yes, because that was going to be my next question. Like, how does your story relate to your purpose? And you
Right.
really covered that in answering about what your story is, because a lot of times people get stuck and they get complacent because they're waiting on this big revelation. They're waiting on the confirmation. And I can't even go into how many confirmations do we honestly need. God
Right.
gives you the word, he gives you the revelation, and that's all you need. But we're waiting on the confirmation, and we're waiting on the validation,
Correct.
to pursue our purpose. And believe it or not, your purpose is in your life experience. The very thing that you've been struggling with, the very thing that you thought you were by yourself and people counted you out, it's the very thing that is tied and linked to your purpose. This Miss Stewart is here as a testament of how she has a son with autism and a daughter that has a mental health condition, and she's still a full-time employee, and she's pursuing her purpose, but her purpose is attached to her life. It's attached to her experiences. So I don't want you to miss that, ladies and gentlemen. Your purpose is in you. It's attached to every experience that you have endured to this point, to this day, to this moment. So we got to stop waiting on this validation and waiting on this confirmation to get started in pursuing the assignment that's been attached to your life, because people don't understand it, or they don't support it. But it's not for them. It's for you to get in line with the assignment that has been attached to your life. And so, Ms. Stewart, I want you to provide to our listeners on tonight 3 practical tips on how they can get unstuck. What is it that they can literally begin to implement in their
Mhm.
lifestyle, get unstuck?
Well, look, I'm going to give you 4 things instead
Okay.
of 3. And these are some things that I talk to women about. They are basic things. But one thing that you did say before I jump into those 4 things, I'm sorry, you keep saying things that kind of, have my mind turning. Before I get into those 4 things, um, many times people are fearful, and like you said, they're waiting on that validation, and sometimes I'm wondering, do we really know who God is, or are we so conditioned to being taught by other people of who God is? And so we have to have that relationship with God in order to push that fear out of the way and move forward in our purpose. But 4 things that I tell people that are so basic, and these are things that I had to learn as I transition into marriage and as I transition into motherhood. Number
Mm.
one, you have to prioritize your life, and not just prioritize your life for the year or for the rest of your life. You have to do it step by step by prioritizing your day. And you cannot be fearful about prioritizing your life. That means that you cannot be afraid to not be a people pleaser. And many of us are not pursuing our destiny and our purpose, and we're not stepping out of the boat because we are afraid of people. We're so busy trying to people please. And so, number one, prioritize your life. And sometimes in prioritizing your life, you're going to have to tell people no. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes in prioritizing your life, you're going to have to tell people no. You're going to have to realize what is priority in my life. If you are a mother, your children are priority. If you are a wife, your spouse is your priority. And of course, your own personal health, your job, your family. What are those things that are priority? Make a list and put them at the top. And whatever doesn't serve you, you need to take it off the list. But many of us don't have the boldness to do that. And you have to ask God for confidence, boldness, and a strong mind in order to be willing to prioritize your life, remove those things and people that no longer serve you. Okay?
Yes.
So that's number one. Number two, prayer. And I know that is simple, and people, it seems like, okay, that's she's saying that because she's a minister. No, prayer. And for some people, that is meditation. And what I tell people is, every day, I give thanks. Some things I say to God is, of course, I thank you for another day, but I thank you for my life. I thank you for health. I thank you for strength for my family. And I strongly believe that as we give thanks and as we meditate on those things that we are thankful for, they will begin to manifest even the more in our life. Okay. Another reason why prayer is so important is because it is connecting us to the source. For me, that source is God. So I'm being connected to that source. And when I'm connected to that source, he's going to give me the strength and the power I need to conquer my day. So whatever it is that the enemy tries to throw at me, whatever it is that somebody tries to do to me on the job, whatever nasty attitude that somebody has, that's gonna bypass me because I've already done the work in the morning, which is prayer. So my spirit is already centered. So I'm already able to conquer my day. So what you do and what you say don't matter to me. Okay. That's number 2. Now, number 3 is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. That is very, very, very important, especially if you are working in a negative or a toxic environment, whether you find yourself sometimes being around toxic family members, whether you're connected to toxic friends, whatever it is that is toxic and that it's toxic, you have to be willing to set boundaries. So if you know that you're always finding yourself around people that are constantly being a gossip, they're constantly spreading rumors and lies and telling people's business, then you are in a toxic situation. If you're always around somebody that has an angry spirit and all they want to do is fuss and fight and want to start mess and confusion, then you are in a toxic environment. If you are connected to a friendship that never supports you and all they have is to say something negative about your purpose, something negative about your marriage, all they want to do is speak negativity against everything that you're doing, then you are connected to a toxic individual. So it is very important that you can disconnect yourself from toxic environments and people, so that your spirit, can not be so weighted down heavily, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, because eventually that stuff is going to weigh on your body. So it's very important. And some people may say, well, I'm in a toxic work environment. How do I, separate myself? Number 1, you have to think about, what are you going to work for? Are you going to work for friendships or to be liked? Or, what are you going to work for? Is it to hang around people? That should not be your focus. Your focus should be, I'm going to work to do my job, to make this check so that I can pay my bills. And for those of you that are trying to build something with your purpose, you're getting that money in order to build. So know the reason why you're going to work. Stop getting connected with people on your job that are always full of mess. Disconnect yourself from those things. Even with family members or friends, don't stay on the phone so long with people that are negative. If they are your family, you may be on the phone with them for 5 minutes, say, hey, I was just calling you to see how you're doing. Hope you have a great day. Bye. That's setting a boundary. Even with friendships, some of you that are listening, you're going to have the hard conversation with a friend. And if they don't want to change, if they don't want to stop being toxic, then you're going to have the courage to untie that friendship. I'm going to say that again. You're going to have the courage to untie that friendship. So it's all about setting boundaries, because, when we're connected to the wrong thing, it's going to affect us greatly, and it could be detrimental to our purpose. Now, number 4.
Hold on, Miss Stewart. I got to say something, because listen
Okay.
here. Listen. Influencers, I'm telling you, she is setting my soul on fire. Okay, my soul is on fire, because you just spoke so freely in that moment about the boundaries, and a lot of people, this should set you free, listeners, because we are attached to toxic relationships. And when we think about toxic relationships, most people think about an intimate relationship or a companionship. When you just made it very clear that some of your toxic relationships are coming from your friendships, from people that you are attached to, from relationships that you won't let go because that's been your friend for 11 years and I've known them all my life. But at some point, you got to be intentional and responsible for who you allow in your space. And if it doesn't serve or support you and your vision and what God has called you to do, you got to separate yourself. And it doesn't mean that you have to be rude. There is a way that you can do everything with grace and respect. And so I am so glad that you touched on that, because I know that it set the listeners free. Somebody got free today just with that nugget alone, because I'm in here about to lose it. So continue on.
Okay. And let me go a step further with that number 3. Okay. You kind of pulled it out me.
Yes.
Okay. Also, when it comes to, and I'm not speaking bad about anything, but even when it comes to a church environment, listen to me clearly. You have to be in the correct church environment. It doesn't mean that those church people are bad. It just means that that environment is not the right fit for you. So you have to get connected to the right fit in order to grow spiritually and emotionally, in order to flourish in your calling. And so maybe there's somebody that's listening. You're wondering if you're in the right church environment. Again, it's not that they are bad people, the church that you're in. If you're kind of feeling a little funny, if you're feeling like, this, it's something, not right, is not gelling. It just could be that these people or this environment, this church environment, is just not the right environment or fit for you. So make sure that you're in the right church environment as well, so that you can grow and flourish in your calling and get to the place that God wants you to be, so that you can fulfill your purpose. So I wanted to kind of say that real quick.
Yes.
Because I know that some people deal with that. And so, in moving on to number 4 for me is purpose. It's very important for you to pursue your purpose if you want to heal emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's very important. So I want to encourage you, get around people that are purpose driven, people that know who they are, people that know where they're going, people that know how to walk in faith and not so much in fear. So you got to get around the right tribe. It's very important for you to pursue your purpose, so that you don't fall in a place of depression, so that you don't fall in a place of fear and anxiety. It's so many people that are even, thinking about committing suicide because they don't know why they were sent to this earth. They don't understand their purpose. They don't know, how to walk this journey out. They don't know what to do. So it's very important that you look at what you're passionate about. And I guarantee you that your purpose is closely tied to it. So pursue that, so you don't fall in a rut. Get connected with people who are passionate, who are positive, who are going somewhere. And again, step away from those people that are negative and that don't want anything out of life, and they don't even care about pursuing their purpose. So again, number 1 is prioritizing your life. Number 2 is prayer. Number 3 is setting boundaries. And number 4 is pursuing your purpose.
Woo! Listen, she just set some listeners free. I know that she just set some listeners free, because it's time for us to get unstuck, and it's time for us to get laser focused. Now is the time for you to pursue your purpose. Now is the time for you to dominate the vision. Now is the time for you to choose to live. No longer live in regret or whatever emotional barrier is holding you hostage. You have the authority. You have the dominion. You have the power to live an abundant life, and it starts in your mind. Abundance is about a mindset, and we can't live in abundance if we don't believe that we're not worth it. We can't reap the manifestation of God if we don't even believe that we're not worth it. So, oh my goodness, you have blessed my soul. I know the listeners are on fire. So listen, influencers, I know that we are having an amazing time with Miss Stewart on our show, our special guest, but we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back. Welcome back, influencers. It's your girl here, Anika Stewart. You're tuning in to the Choose to Live radio show right here on iWorship 96 FM radio, where we spend the best in indie gospel and Christian music. And we have a very special guest here with us, Miss Jacqueline Stewart. Listen, she has been gracing us with such great, valuable content. She just provided us 4 practical tips that you can begin to implement right now, today. You don't have to wait for anybody to wave a magical wand or blow on you. You don't have to wait for any of that. It really just about reconditioning your mind, reconditioning your thoughts, right? That's what it's really about. And so we have this amazing woman here that is gracing us with great content. And so I have a question that I would like to ask you. So what happened to you that made you shift your narrative? What happened in your life that made you say, you know what, I need change and this is how I'm going to go about it? What happened?
Well, this is the straight truth. I woke up one day and I said, oh my God, I have lost myself. I was so busy being a mother. I was so busy being a wife and didn't understand that I completely lost who I was. And so I just had to get back to the place of finding me and understanding that becoming a mother and becoming a wife isn't about losing who you are. It's just an addition to who you are. And you have to learn how to adjust and transition through the growth and the changes of life, of marriage and motherhood. So that's really literally one day I just woke up and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have lost myself. Mm-hmm. And I could just, it's just something that goes off on the inside of you, that tells you, something isn't wrong. Something is wrong here. You're losing something here. But yes, I just had to realize that, and many women feel like, we lose ourselves because we're nurturers. We're so busy, taking care of the house and we're trying to be supportive to our spouses, but again, marriage and motherhood is not about losing who you are. It's just an addition to the purpose that God has for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I just have to share this because, I started in ministry in 2000, early 2000s. I started out in ministry. And when I started out in ministry, you touched on so many different things that I could relate to myself. And I often tell this story because I know that I know that I'm not alone. I know that women can attest to this, and even men, because when I started my ministry, I had this perception that I had to be I had an image that I had to be. So I was losing sight of myself. I was losing pieces of myself. And it got to the point to where I couldn't even keep up with the image. I could no longer keep up with the image, and I just got tired. And anybody that's listening, have you ever been tired? You just tired of being tired. I never knew what that really meant until I experienced for myself. And so I was just tired of being tired of trying to keep up with the image, tired of trying to keep up with the traditions of ministry and what it should look like so I said all that to say, free yourself, influencer, free yourself, woman of God, man of God, free yourself and just be okay with being who you are in this moment. And it doesn't mean that you have to have everything together. It doesn't mean that you have to have everything together and everything needs to be in its place and everything is perfect, because that's unrealistic thinking. We have to learn to embrace the good, the bad, and indifferent. And I'm so happy that I have you on this show, because you have been a blessing to myself and the listeners. I'm very sure that you have been a blessing to us on today's show. Somebody got their breakthrough, somebody got their moment that they needed. And sometimes we looking for it from all these different places, but sometimes it takes an unfamiliar voice. And I'm very clear about that. Sometimes it takes somebody that you don't know to speak into your life, and it just click and it makes sense. So I'm glad that we have you on the show right here on Choose to Live. We are excited that you said yes to your purpose and your calling. We're excited that you said yes because you're being a blessing to so many worldwide, right here, right now, in this moment. So how can our listeners connect and contact you? How can they connect with you?
Okay, first you can go to yatc2.blog, and you can get connected with me there. My email is on my blog site. Also, you can go to YATC2 on Facebook. I have a moms, wives, and women community over there. And if you want to get more into the mental health coaching, you can follow me on Instagram at MWW Mental Health Coaching. That is Moms, Wives, and Women Mental Health Coaching. But if you really want to send me an email, simply go to my blog. Again, that is yatc2.blog, and just shoot me an email right through there, and I will get right back to you.
Yes, yes. So what do you currently have going on? Are there any projects that you have coming out? Tell us what's next for you.
I actually do have a project coming out. I'm currently working on a short film, series, and we'll start filming in May. And so the title, I'm just gonna give the title of it, but it is called Dishonest Love. And it's basically about how we as individuals, we're not honest about who we are, or when we're not honest about who we are and what we want out of life. Not only is it detrimental to us, but it's also damaging to those who are attached to us or that love us. And so we'll start filming that in May, and so you can keep a lookout for that as well.
Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, listen here. We have the phenomenal, amazing Jacqueline Stewart on the show today. It was a pleasure to have you join us today and be a part of the Choose to Live family. And before we end tonight's broadcast, I want to say one thing, but I'm just going to give you the floor. What would you like to say to our guests, to that woman or that man who is still saying, you know what, although I may implement these steps, now what? What's going to be different? Because sometimes people will give them these practical tips that they can implement, and what I'm finding to be true is they'll start and then they'll stop, or they won't keep going. And so how can they get over that hurdle? How can they get over that hump to just keep going no matter what?
Well, I'll tell you this. I strongly believe that if you follow these 4 steps, and I believe it because I have done this and I am doing this in my own life, you're going to get a sense of clarity about your purpose, about your movement, about your life. That confusion is going to lift out of you. Off of you, you're gonna have a sense of boldness. You're gonna be able to hear God clearer. You're gonna know which way to go, what direction to have. You're gonna begin to attract people that are positive, that are good. You're gonna begin to attract opportunities. There's going to be a healing that is going to come about in your life, but you have to stay steady. You have to stay focused. Again, don't be a people pleaser. Stop worrying about what people think about you, what they're saying about you, what they're trying to do about you. But these 4 steps are going to help you to get focused. They're going to help you to heal, to become whole, to have clarity, and just to move forward in everything that God has for you. And I'm not just saying this just to say it, but I've done the work in my own personal life, and I'm continuing to do the work.
Yes, and that's the thing. Do the work, influencers. Do the work. Give yourself permission to do the work. And we're gonna leave this show on that. So influencers, you already know what the deal is. I want to hear from you from tonight's show, right? I love to hear your responses and your feedback. So again, connect with me by going to ladyanikastewart.com and share your thoughts with me. I love to hear your feedback. And influencers, until next time, choose to live.